You think they care about you, but what they're really thinking will make your stomach drop. Everything you thought was private, personal, or sacred, they're analyzing it, manipulating it, and using it, and you'll never see it coming. If this is resonating with you, pause for a moment, think about your own experiences, and consider sharing this with someone who needs to hear the truth about narcissistic thinking. Every interaction a narcissist has with you is filtered through a lens of scrutiny and judgment. They are constantly scanning for weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and insecurities, not to offer support or empathy, but to find leverage they can exploit. When you hesitate, doubt yourself, or display fear, they notice it immediately, storing it away as a tool for future manipulation. Even small cracks in your confidence become ammunition in their internal playbook. They observe how you respond to criticism, rejection, or discomfort, and use that information to predict your behavior and maintain control. It's not that they care about your well-being. Your emotions are data points, a mirror reflecting what can be exploited. The more they know about your insecurities, the more power they feel over you, even if you remain unaware. This judgment is often subtle and insidious. It may manifest as passive-aggressive comments, backhanded compliments, or micro-manipulations that leave you questioning yourself. They will dissect your words, gestures, and even your silences, analyzing what they reveal about your fears or self-doubt. What's shocking is that while you might think they're attentive, caring, or interested, much of their observation is strategic. They are constructing a detailed map of your vulnerabilities. Their ultimate goal is not connection or understanding, it's leverage. Recognizing this pattern is critical because it shifts the perspective from self-blame to awareness. Understanding that their judgment is about control, not your value, allows you to reclaim your emotional space and protect yourself from the subtle, persistent power they seek to exert. Every reaction you have to a narcissist becomes a piece of information for them. They aren't just observing. You are, in their eyes, a case study, and every smile, frown, or pause is data to be analyzed. When you show frustration, sadness, or excitement, they mentally note the intensity and triggers of those emotions, creating a detailed map of how to influence or manipulate you in the future. Your emotional patterns are like open books, and they read them to predict your behavior, often before you even realize it yourself. This isn't casual curiosity, it's strategic surveillance. They pay attention to the subtle cues, a slight hesitation in your voice, a fleeting expression, or the way you avoid certain topics. Each of these signals tells them something about your boundaries, your fears, and what pressures or praise might move you. Over time, this constant monitoring allows them to anticipate your responses and craft interactions that serve their own interests. The dangerous part is how seamlessly they integrate this into everyday exchanges, making you feel as though everything is normal, while they quietly gather intelligence to maintain control. By understanding that your reactions are being scrutinized in this way, you can start to recognize the patterns and protect your emotional energy. Awareness becomes a shield, helping you disengage from the invisible feedback loop they're creating and reclaim the autonomy over your own responses. Once you see that your emotions are being monitored for leverage, you begin to take back the power that's rightfully yours. A narcissist fundamentally believes that the world revolves around them, and in their distorted perspective, you exist primarily to serve their ego. Your achievements, your happiness, even your struggles are only significant in how they reflect on them. When you share a personal success, instead of celebrating it for your sake, they measure it against their own accomplishments, often diminishing or dismissing it if it doesn't elevate their self-image. Compliments or attention you give are interpreted as validation of their superiority rather than genuine appreciation. They may appear to support you, but it's conditional. Your worth in their mind is tied to how much you can reinforce their sense of importance. This mindset creates an invisible pressure where your feelings, decisions, and identity are constantly filtered through their need for admiration. Even when you think they are paying attention because they care, what they are really doing is calculating how your words, actions, or successes feed into their narrative of dominance and control. Your individuality, your independent thoughts, and your personal growth are secondary, only relevant when they bolster their image or provide material to manipulate your behavior. The shocking reality is that the more you give of yourself, your attention, your trust, your emotional energy, the more they take, not for your benefit, but for their own psychological nourishment. Understanding this truth is crucial. It reveals that their apparent interest in you is never about genuine connection. It is about control, validation, and reinforcement of their fragile sense of self. And recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming your autonomy. A narcissist rarely experiences joy at someone else's happiness in a genuine way. Instead, they measure everything you value, your talents, your relationships, your successes, through a lens of envy and comparison. When you achieve something meaningful, whether it's a career milestone, a personal accomplishment, or simply a moment of contentment, they feel an undercurrent of jealousy, even if they hide it behind a smile or polite words. This envy isn't always loud or aggressive. It often manifests subtly through minimization, sarcasm, or quiet dismissal of what matters to you. They may belittle your achievements, suggest that they weren't significant, or imply that luck or outside help played a larger role than your effort. The goal is not to celebrate your growth, but to neutralize it in their perception so they maintain the illusion of superiority. Deep down, they desire what you have, the confidence, the relationships, the skills, but rather than pursuing it honestly, they attempt to diminish your experience, making it easier to feel powerful by comparison. This covert jealousy shapes much of their interaction with you, coloring compliments with judgment and guidance with subtle criticism. Recognizing this pattern can be liberating because it highlights that their reactions are about their insecurity and need for control, not about your value. Understanding that your success triggers envy rather than authentic support allows you to interpret their behavior accurately, detach emotionally from their judgments, and continue to honor and nurture your achievements without guilt or self-doubt. A narcissist lives in constant fear of being exposed, and that fear often drives much of their behavior toward you. They are acutely aware that their manipulations, lies, and covert strategies are morally and socially unacceptable, even if they don't consciously admit it to themselves. This awareness creates a quiet, persistent anxiety. If you see through their facade, if you recognize their true intentions, their carefully constructed world starts to crumble. Every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to control or gaslight you carries the risk of discovery, and they fear the loss of influence above almost anything else. Because of this, they monitor your reactions closely, watching for signs that you might be catching on, analyzing what you say and how you behave to ensure their secrets remain hidden. They may act charming, attentive, or even apologetic, but these behaviors are tactical. They are designed to prevent you from recognizing the truth and asserting your independence. Their fear of exposure can make them volatile. Small missteps or perceived challenges to their control can trigger defensive maneuvers, often aggressive or passive-aggressive, aimed at re-establishing dominance. Understanding this dynamic is key because it reveals that much of the narcissist's intensity isn't about you personally. It's about protecting themselves. Recognizing that their anxiety stems from their own fear of being seen for who they truly are empowers you to detach emotionally, maintain clarity, and prevent their fear-driven tactics from influencing your sense of self or decisions. A narcissist has a unique way of reshaping reality to suit their needs, and one of their most insidious tactics is rewriting your story. They take moments you experienced together, conversations you had, or events you shared, and subtly, or sometimes overtly, distort them to make you appear flawed, irrational, or unworthy. This isn't just occasional exaggeration, it's a deliberate psychological strategy designed to reinforce their sense of superiority and control. By reframing your words or actions, they can position themselves as the reasonable, virtuous, or logical party, while casting you as the one who misstepped, overreacted, or failed. Over time, this manipulation can make you question your own memory, judgment, and perception, leaving you unsure of what really happened. It's a powerful tool because it leverages your trust in your own experience against you, creating self-doubt that benefits them. They may do this in private, in public, or subtly in shared social circles, carefully crafting narratives that suit their agenda while keeping you off balance. The goal is not reconciliation or understanding, it's control. Every twist in your story reinforces their ego and keeps you tethered to their version of reality. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for protecting your mental and emotional well-being. By being aware that they will attempt to rewrite your experiences for their gain, you can anchor yourself in your own truth, document your experiences if needed, and resist being drawn into their distorted narrative. Awareness becomes a powerful shield, allowing you to see their manipulation clearly without internalizing it. A narcissist perceives your independence and self-confidence as a direct threat to their control. Every decision you make on your own, every boundary you set, and every moment of self-assuredness chips away at the influence they crave. They want to be the center of your attention, the primary driver of your choices, and the one who shapes your emotional landscape. When you assert autonomy, whether it's pursuing personal goals, cultivating relationships, or making decisions without consulting them, they feel exposed and undermined. This isn't simply about jealousy or insecurity, it's about power. They monitor your life closely, not out of care or concern, but to detect where their control is slipping. Even subtle acts of independence can provoke calculated responses, such as manipulation, guilt-tripping, or attempts to reassert dominance because they perceive these actions as challenges to their authority. The more you grow in confidence and self-reliance, the more they feel threatened, which can trigger attempts to destabilize you emotionally or socially. Understanding this dynamic is critical for reclaiming your personal power. By recognizing that their reactions are not about you personally, but about protecting their sense of control, you can maintain boundaries and continue to develop autonomy without being drawn into their manipulations. Your independence becomes a form of protection and resistance, reminding you that your life, choices, and emotional energy belong to you, and that no one's insecurity should dictate your path. Above all else, a narcissist wants you to doubt yourself. Every interaction, every subtle critique, and every manipulative maneuver is designed to make you question your judgment, your perceptions, and even your own reality. They thrive when you second-guess your decisions because self-doubt makes you more reliant on them for guidance, validation, or approval. By keeping you uncertain, they maintain a psychological foothold, subtly steering your thoughts and emotions to serve their needs. This isn't always overt. It often appears as passive-aggressive comments, contradictory statements, or gentle undermining that leaves you feeling off balance. Over time, this persistent seed of doubt erodes your confidence, making it harder to trust your instincts or assert your boundaries. What's particularly shocking is how skilled they are at disguising this manipulation as concern, advice, or even affection. While it may feel like they are helping or offering insight, their true motive is control. They want you to rely on them, to question yourself instead of them, and to remain within the orbit of their influence. Recognizing this pattern is empowering because it allows you to reclaim clarity. Understanding that their goal is not your growth, but your dependence enables you to separate your self-worth from their manipulations. By trusting your own judgment and reinforcing your confidence, you break the cycle of doubt they rely on, taking back the emotional and mental space that is rightfully yours. Awareness transforms their secret strategy from a hidden trap into a challenge you can navigate with clarity and strength. The truth is, narcissists operate in shadows, observing, analyzing, and manipulating in ways most people never notice. They catalog your weaknesses, measure your reactions, and silently rewrite the story of your life, all to maintain control and feed their ego. But here's the reality they hope you never see. Their power exists only as long as you allow it. The moment you recognize their hidden thoughts, the moment you understand that their interest was never genuine, you reclaim the authority over your own life. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. By seeing through their tactics, you can detach emotionally, trust your own instincts, and rebuild your sense of self without fear or guilt. You begin to understand that their envy, their fear of exposure, their subtle undermining, and their relentless monitoring are reflections of their insecurity, not reflections of your worth. And once this knowledge settles in, it's liberating. You no longer have to navigate life according to their rules or their manipulations. You can nurture your confidence, honor your achievements, and assert your independence without hesitation. You are allowed to protect your boundaries, to prioritize your growth, and to trust your perception of reality. The narcissist's secret thoughts may have shaped interactions, but they do not define who you are. Recognizing their strategies gives you the ultimate gift, the ability to live fully, freely, and authentically, untouched by the shadows they try to cast over your life. Freedom begins when you see the truth and choose yourself above all else.